Extra time. Here we go. And I think it may surprise you to learn that there are a lot of disgruntled Barcelona fans out there today.
Okay.
They seem to have jammed up our inbox.
Well, they've come to the right place.
Our in-tray is bursting with them. In fact, let's rip through a few of them before we get into it. Does Valverde know his personnel? Needs goals, takes out goal-scoring mid Rakitic, puts in B-team mid Elena. Coutinho doesn't play 90 all season, leaves him in to start cramping with 20 minutes to go. On we go. Instead of Arthur and Semedo, who would you have substituted, or do you think that was the right decision? And then, how can Valverde have the nerve to put Sergio Roberto as a right wing when he's the slowest guy on the pitch, and bench Malcolm, who's a decent right wing? How does that? He does that change second half, and the game was much better from Barca's end. Are they not wasting Messi's last couple of seasons? That's kind of a summation of the disgruntlement out there. So have at it, Ali.
Well, that's a lot to unpack there.
Yes, it is.
Let's start with Coutinho.
Yeah.
It has to be incredibly frustrating for Barcelona fans to see what Coutinho has become as a player in Barcelona. Dribble, 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 get close to Messi, give him the ball 2 yards away from him. Dribble, 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 lose the ball, and then just walk back. Dribble, 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 straight out of bounds. That cannot be what you were looking for. And this was supposed to be a guy that was, he would be the one to relieve some pressure from Lionel Messi, because Coutinho, in theory, would be good enough to create space for himself, attract attention, and therefore free up Lionel Messi. It has not happened. And the time for Coutinho, and he doesn't help himself with the body language either. And that it's not a guy, if you're sitting in row set over there somewhere, and you're watching this guy play, and you already are not feeling all too comfortable about him, and then you see him lose the ball, and that he doesn't quite have the work ethic or the willingness to go and try to recover the ball that he just lost, that would drive anybody absolutely insane.
That sounds like a whole lot of dribble or drivel when it comes to Coutinho.
Yeah.
Take your pick.
I'm with that. It's been frustrating to see Coutinho be the player that he has been over the last 12 months. But in all honesty, outside of Lionel Messi, everybody else has struggled, and have been huge disappointments. Listen, I know Luis Suarez is sitting on the bench, but I don't think that excuses Barcelona from looking this poor.
Gab is with us. Gab, do all these questions you file under what you brought up in the show? Questions about Valverde and his tactics?
I mean, look, there's legitimate questions about his absentees, right? Because he could say, well, if I play Dembele and Suarez, then we don't have this problem. And Coutinho doesn't play, then we win, and then, nobody has a go at me. But the reality is, the reason you have one of the biggest jobs in coaching is that you can come up with other solutions. You can come up with other ways. Hindsight is always 20/20. Obviously, somebody like Malcolm would have made things happen sooner. At least he is a genuine winger. I think there's probably painful decisions that you could have made earlier with some veteran players. I know Rakitic can turn it on, but when Rakitic isn't in condition, and he wasn't necessarily the problem tonight, then there's no reason sticking with him just because he's Rakitic. We saw a bit of creativity when they moved to what looked like sort of this variation of a back three when they were chasing the game. The question is, why don't we see that more? Well, why doesn't that become a way of playing in certain situations when your options are limited? These are all questions that Valverde hasn't answered. And let's not forget, he's not here because, he's Johan Cruyff Mark II. He's here because supposedly he is the brilliant tactician who knows different systems and can motivate players and can adjust. But there's no adjustments at Barcelona. It really is ride Messi's coattails as long as we can.
More of a wide-angled lens type question on that subject coming from, I draw your attention to this name, Stevie Nichols' Shepherd's Pie has weighed in with the first meaty question. Wide-angle lens from the Pie, which Spanish giant has allowed their squad to decay more, Barca or Real Madrid, and which will have the bigger overhaul this summer? Take your pick.
I think the obvious answer is Real Madrid, who lost, if people don't know this, they should know this by now, 18 times in La Liga. Yes. 18 times. Kind of gives you an idea how far they dropped. Barcelona did win the league, so it's difficult to make a case that their squad has decayed further than Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid has a bigger rebuild job than Barcelona does.
Gab, one specifically for you from Nick. How do you think Sarri-ball will possibly work out in Juventus, and can it lead them to Champions League glory?
Yeah, these Sarri rumors won't go away. I don't think anything will have anything concrete, obviously, until after the Europa League final, and a lot of dominoes have to fall for this to happen. It would be a tremendously courageous choice from Juventus, given their recent history, given Sarri's recent history. I think it would be really interesting, and people are already speculating about, what's going to happen. Where do you play Cristiano Ronaldo in Sarri's 4-3-3? Because it's pretty obvious that in his system, the wingers are asked to do a lot of coordinated movements, a lot of very specific jobs. You don't necessarily want him to do that. Is this when we see Cristiano operate purely as a center forward, for example? You need dynamic midfielders to make it work, as well as a deep-lying quarterback type. Maybe that guy can be Pjanic, possibly. But then you have the dynamism in players like Matuidi, like Emre Can, to do that. Or are they different types of players? To me, this Juve squad, while qualitatively better than a lot of the teams out there, really doesn't seem suited at all to Sarri-ball, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And all I can think is that if they bring him in, this is going to be a transition season, and it's going to be a longer-term rebuilding project.
One thing is for certain.
Yeah.
Jorginho's going to play.
I was going to say,
100%.
I love the fact we're trying to figure out how Ronaldo would sit in.
No, Jorginho will
fit
play.
into Sarri's
Two
system.
things are for certain. Jorginho will play, and according to reports out of Turin, it's going to be Pep and Sarri as joint managers at Juventus.
Okay.
Shaq. Wow.
That's what I read.
You got sources.
Sure,
That's what I read.
Reports
Okay.
from Matteo Benetti.
I saw that.
Finally, Dro the Gooner for Ali. Where were you yesterday to say what you normally say when the news about Lukaku to Inter broke?
Lukaku!
Better late than never.
Hey, I was watching my son play. What can I tell you? I got priorities. Lukaku!
Gab, your thoughts not on Ali's delivering of his Lukaku line, but
Or Alisson's general state of play.
if Lukaku does end up at Inter, good for him, good for Inter?
Well, right now, we don't know who the next Inter manager is. People are taking it for granted that it's going to be Antonio Conte. I don't think we're quite there yet where we can say that. So if it's a guy who wants Lukaku, who can work for him, who can give him that kind of service, sure, it's a chance to relaunch his career. I'm not sure Inter, and a lot's going to depend on the price, but Lukaku doesn't come cheap. He has an enormous salary at Manchester United. It would obviously signal the end of Maurizio, when a lot of people might be fine with that, but then you got to make sure that you can sell him well and get some money back. So I don't know. This Lukaku thing seems to be like a lot of talk, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff from the man who, despite being suspended right now, is still the great puppet master, one of the great puppet masters. He's the same guy who's moving Matthijs de Ligt around. He's moving Romelu Lukaku around. He'd move Paul Pogba around if he could. That man, of course, is Mino Raiola.
Yes.
Mino Raiola.
Big Mino. We love him, don't we? He is
Do we?
suspended. Well, I don't know.
Should we?
Someone does.
Why
Clearly not the authorities.
When
'cause
Gab said
he's
puppet
suspended.
master.
Well,
you
because
look
you move pieces very well, Shaq.
Well,
And people don't know where you are, but
I was
you
burning into the
you know,
side of my head over here.
you got things going on in different places. You're like more like a Lego master.
What's the question, Adrian?
If
Build
Lukaku,
bridges
if
everywhere.
Lukaku does move to Inter, surely Ali has to start commentating on Serie A for our
Well,
ESPN
I would
Plus
expect
games.
nothing less.
I'm volunteering you.
Does
That's
that-
just
does
so
that
I would
mean-
expect nothing less.
Look, does that mean that I have to hang out with Matteo Bonetti? Because if that's the case, then forget
You have to get to know
it.
each other well.
I'm out.
do.
I'll have Gab 1,000 times over Matteo Bonetti.
We will be concentrating on Italian matters tomorrow, as of course the Champions League spots are sorted. Gab will return, and the Italian boys, Stevie and Paul, will be
Stevie.
all over. Yeah, Paul. Paolo. See you then.